Let's do it.
It's the main shot.
Welcome back, everyone. TVI podcast. Donnelly here.
Julian Deane.
Returning guest.
Hello.
Jason John
Double
Whitehead.
J.
All the way from LA via, obviously, Canada originally, but now you live in LA.
I'm a man
now
of the
you're
world.
in London, and then you're going to Edinburgh.
I'm from a lot of places, yeah.
I would say you are, have always been that sort of archetypal,
man with a bag on his back.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Travelling Mac.
Someone who's going to ask you to stay on your sofa at some point.
That's why I got rid of my sofa.
I feel like
Just yeah, we ain't got a sofa, man. Sorry, yeah, we got rid of it.
Sold it,
I
yeah.
do feel like I owe people favors. I do want to, and I have
So you can never buy a house because you're just going to have all these favors and they get called back in.
Can I do 3 years at yours?
I've got a rent control studio in Los Angeles,
Well,
but it's
you
just gonna stay
let
as
me
it
stay
is.
in your studio.
That's right, I did.
When was that? Last year or the year before? I think it was.
Not sure how long ago.
But we were coming
now.
back via LA.
What kind of studio? Or like a studio apartment?
Yeah, studio apartment. It's tiny.
It's a classic like LA apartment though. Like
I've never been. No.
do you know what? It's a proper bachelor pad. I'd say that.
Loads of condoms everywhere.
Jizz everywhere. But
It's an accurate description
Porn on the
of my
walls.
apartment.
Just a porn calendar.
what I mean is like
Like an old mechanic's garage.
You've got like sort of vinyls on the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
yeah.
comedian vinyls as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So
Oh, really?
I got Carlin,
Lenny Bruce.
Eddie Murphy, Billy Connolly, the Smothers Brothers, and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Oh no! What Eddie
yeah, nice
Murphy?
little-
Delirious.
And no, actually, it's not
Nutty
Delirious.
Professor.
Beverly Hills Cop 3, the new Netflix one.
Excellent.
Axel F.
But they're all just old.
Have you watched that yet?
I've watched a bit of it. It's
Okay.
nostalgic, isn't it?
It's good. I think it does the
Yeah,
trick.
I mean, that's my favourite film ever, that first one.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody the other day. And they went, "Is it any good?" And I went, "No, but it's great."
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's-
like Cobra Kai or
See,
something.
I didn't like Cobra Kai. I think that's laid it on a bit thick with the sort of schmaltzy nostalgia.
Oh, right.
I don't mind on it. Like sometimes
I
it can
didn't actually
work,
watch
but
it.
I didn't like the new Ghostbusters ones or any of that shit. Like,
Right.
I think
What, the
nostal-
women one?
yeah, that one.
What, the
In
holes
particular.
one?
Takes a turn
One with
quickly.
the kids. Where,
You're really gonna hate Axel F because it's a woman now.
oh,
They've gender switched Eddie Murphy.
no, but it's the one with the kids, and at the end all
There
the
was
bloody
kids one.
ones come back. And
Yeah,
it's-
they're like
I
the
hated it.
new reboot. Yeah,
I
they're
haven't seen
legacies
it.
or
James
whatever.
Acaster's in it, that one.
He's in the newest one that's just come out.
I
I've not
don't know
seen
the
that
other one then.
I haven't
There's a sequel to
Yeah.
the new that one.
I haven't seen the new one either.
But yeah, I'm not actually big on nostalgia when it comes to films.
Okay, well,
It can ruin it, can't it?
Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Eddie Murphy can do no wrong.
Exactly.
He's the godfather of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even it-
American, like Billy Connolly's the
Even its
godfather
AIDS
of
jokes.
storytelling comedy.
Even his homophobia. It's like, what? If you're going to do it, he does it perfectly.
Some of the best. Some of that. When he's on the cop car doing
Yeah.
the siren.
When's the last time you watched like Delirious?
Recently.
Have you?
Yeah.
Because I don't reckon I've watched it in.
He was only like
I'm gonna say
19
12
or
years.
something, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could be his dad.
Well, yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I've performed on that
I
stage
didn't mean
now.
like
And now.
DNA test time.
I've performed on that stage now. I felt
What
quite, 'cause
stage was it?
It's in Washington, and it's I can't remember it's is it the Lincoln Theater or something, but it's got all the photos of him
Oh, nice.
recording it backstage. So that felt
Fuck.
quite. That was
In his red suit.
feels quite cool when
He's
you
so
walk on
sweaty,
stage.
man. That was
Yeah,
a leather
yeah.
suit. And he didn't
Yeah.
look like he had anything underneath it.
It
either.
blew me away when I first saw that. I was about 10 or 11 or something, man, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was the reason why I wanted to do comedy. Some people of my generation, or whatever, they'll say that it was prior.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I never believe them.
Nah.
Because
Nah.
believe it or not, I think maybe for boomers and stuff, but maybe
I
for,
saw
for
prior
my-
years after that, actually,
Yes.
Sunset Strip, yeah.
Eddie
Yeah,
Murphy
yeah.
for like Gen X and stuff was the gateway to prior.
Oh, yeah, that's
and,
what
and
I
Carlin
agree,
and stuff.
yeah.
Eddie Murphy got us into all that.
Yeah, I definitely
You
saw Delirious when I was about 11. And then it would have been sort of Billy Connolly, and then
Yeah.
I would have later on when I sort of started learning more about it, I went back, and that was when Pryor and
Yeah,
Carlin and all that business
Totally.
started actually spreading. Bill Hicks and all that,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was. I mean,
Dennis Leary.
as an 11-year-old, Delirious was the funniest thing
Yes.
I've ever seen.
and I
You
would
could
say
quote it even as an 11. We'd all be on our skates.
100%.
quoting it.
yeah.
Like, it just cut through all generations, man.
Yeah, and for me, Billy Connolly and Bill Hicks, I didn't really discover or get into until I moved here, until I came to Britain.
Because Bill Hicks made it on Channel 4 here, didn't he?
Yeah, that one he recorded. One of the specials was recorded.
One Night Stand. No, yeah.
No,
Relentless, maybe.
I can't remember.
What was that one? It was Relentless.
Relentless was one of his good ones, wasn't it?
He gets shot at the end, right? He gets
that was in London.
Isn't it true that was it Nick Doody?
I thought Bob Mills. Mills did,
and interviewed him.
Right.
Nick Doody has an archive him as a student. He did that whole Mr. Hicks, I'm a big fan of comedy. Can I do an interview with you?
And Hicks was only like about 30 as well.
He always looked older, didn't it?
Yeah, he died at 33.
Everybody looks older.
Yeah,
back then,
except for me.
They look like they did. Yeah, you look at like films in like the 70s and 80s, like.
Cary Grant.
Yeah. He's had grey hair and a suit. And he's like, he was 22 at the time.
He just left school. But they do like cast older actors for high school things as well, don't they?
Yeah. But like,
not that Cary Grant was in
footage of kids back in like the 1910s. So
like Danny Zuko's about 37.
No, but actual kids. Have you ever seen footage of actual kids in like the 20s and 30s?
Oh yeah,
and they just like
they look like bricklayers from Ukraine and stuff.
It's wild. Yeah. But anyway,
so I'll say you discover when you come here, because you're not ready if you come from North American culture.
Yeah,
you don't know about Billy Connolly because they gave Billy Connolly some shots in North America.
Didn't it work really?
But it never really took off.
They don't do well with strong accents in American audiences.
Then you get here and you discover Billy Connolly for real. You're like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. He is the Godfather. I was going to tell you, Axel F. You probably won't like it then.
I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it.
It follows the formula. It follows like the exact like Beverly Hills. If you think back to Beverly Hills Cop, it starts in Detroit.
The rebel cop outside of his comfort zone. Yeah,
right.
It takes all those.
I saw the beginning of it where he's like nodding to everyone in Detroit, and I thought, it's a bit much, a little bit. Just don't, you know what I mean?
For me,
wind it in just a tad.
Yeah.
I liked it though. Of all these reboots that they're failing at, I think this one's done a good job.
Yeah. I will watch all of it soon.
I haven't watched Roadhouse yet.
Watch? I'd say
about 6 minutes.
I watched Roadhouse.
Right, and
how's Conor McGregor in it? Good.
Well, you know, when he's just sort of messing about,
he goes a bit over the top.
I thought I was like, he plays the character they need quite well.
Psychopath.
But what the problem is, they've written loads of cheesy lines as if he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And every time he does one of them, it's shit. He's not a good enough actor to get away with it.
Okay.
Where he's actually just sort of being a bit threatening and scary. He's actually really good. And as much as the film is badly written and it's not, and it's shot quite weird. And Jake Gyllenhaal is excellent. He really does it's a good version. It's a good version of what the original character was. It's different, but it's sort of true to that weird.
He was proper roided up for that.
Zen brutal fighter. Right. Do you know what I mean? And it's
the first one was good with Swayze. Swayze was good, wasn't it?
Swayze was great.
Fucking hell, he's only a small guy as well, with a giant head.
Doesn't he do a throat rip in the original?
Yeah,
isn't that?
Yeah. That fucking.
It's alluding to the fact he did it before.
Didn't he pull out his heart or something?
No, it's his throat.
Oh, is it?
The guy's throat
That's
out,
Indiana Jones.
Oh, no, that's my life. I forgot.
He pulled out his heart. That would be awesome.
Just
a bouncer.
Imagine someone did that in the UFC. So what? He pulled his throat.
Grabs
it. Fingers behind the windpipe. Out. Laters, mate.
And then the guy
taters.
falls in the water.
Jacket potato, bruv. Do you remember that doctor in Roadhouse one, the old one?
Absolutely.
She was hot, man, at the time, obviously.
Yeah. Thanks for
she's
clarifying.
Still really attractive.
Fancied her, man.
She was so attractive.
Yeah.
Like, I
Almost
wonder I don't
Swayze.
remember what else she did. Like she was a seminal part of my early
wanking
sexual
career.
And then
my early orgasms of my balls
you haven't
willing.
looked her up.
I know.
Even because you've seen the reboot.
You guys
you didn't have a little nostalgia time?
You fill a bit of time while I just quickly
just go to the toilet. Go to Poundland.
Can you switch my camera off for a sec? I'm just going to knock one out.
Just put the mic closer to your mouth.
This Roadhouse.
IMDb is dangerous like that now when you're watching a nostalgic film or something like something from the 80s.
Yeah.
Like,
Someone used to fancy.
She was. What happened to her?
Yeah. That bird out of Teen Wolf.
Who was in Teen Wolf?
I don't know.
Was that Elizabeth Shue? Or am I thinking of that?
Oh,
She
no.
was Karate Kid.
Well, Elizabeth Shue's a good one.
Elizabeth Shue, man.
Kelly Lynch. She's so
Kelly
pretty,
Lynch, that's
isn't
it,
she?
yeah.
She's so
right.
pretty.
I forgot about her.
Yeah, I fancied her, man.
She was,
Funny they cast her as a doctor.
she's
Yeah,
now,
all
She's now
right.
65 years old. Is she still
65?
acting?
Might DM her later.
I'm going to Google and see what she looks like now. Not in any sort
Probably
of...
got like 700 followers on Twitter or something.
I hope it's good news.
It's
she's
like your
still well
mate's
pretty,
fit
man.
mum are like well attainable now, isn't they? Just DM. Oh, hi, how are you?
It's always creepy Googling Kelly Lynch now for an image. You know what I mean? You feel like a fucking creep.
I think that was the thing about
I reckon she's pretty still.
the like when we were working
Mate,
on
that was her 2 years ago.
the good job.
In her
Surgery jobs,
60s.
innit? Yeah.
Shut your mouth, man. Say it about my favourite woman.
Fucking, but all right, man. Sorry, man. I was only messing around.
Jim, when we were working on the Jim Jeffries show, there's a lot of like women who are like page 3 models or whatever in the early 2000s
yeah.
that we remember from over here, but they're in LA and they've been LA like,
like Sam
trying to
Fox
make
or-
it. And
No, that
doing-
would have been
Yeah.
early 2000s. That
Oh,
was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
85.
That was the early
that was
70s.
a real
Melinda
tough-
Messenger.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Kelly Brook.
Yeah.
She wasn't a page
That's a lot
3,
of
but
time ago.
she was of that era.
Yeah.
Again, a seminal time of my life.
But it's nice they come up in castings now. And you're like, oh, because they're just doing the Hollywood thing.
yeah.
So you see them.
So you pretend you're a casting director now, do you?
I just
Hire a little studio.
I beg to get in the casting room. Oh, we got to pick 3 female characters for the car wash scene. Can I? Does anybody need coffee? I'll bring in whatever you need. Can I just sit in, please?
Do you do many castings in LA?
I do a few.
Acting?
Yeah, when I've got the time.
How do you fare with an actor? Are you good at acting auditions? So we've talked a bit about we've had quite regular chats about doing self tapes. So.
I can't stand self tapes.
See, I much prefer self tapes to an in the room
You can edit
audition.
it. I mean, it's hot. Being in the room, man. You got one shot, and everyone's just staring at you.
Oh, I like the in the room more, especially if it's comedy related.
Right, yeah,
Because I
yeah.
usually get them laughing before
Yeah.
we've even done the
Yeah.
take or whatever,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm
Do
getting
your
along
Edinburgh
with,
preview.
yeah. Well, the other thing is
Do
too,
some
like
crowd work.
recently, well, I get around on a bike in LA as
Yeah.
well, so I show up with a bike seat in my hand, and that's
Yeah,
usually an
yeah.
in. They're like, "Why do you have a bike seat?"
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
hand?"
yeah.
And right away, I'm already
Yeah.
unique. But when I have to do a self tape, I can't.
I love it.
Can't
Just hold the
stand
bike
it.
seat,
hold
mate.
it.
Like a psychopath.
So there's a thing I always do to get attention.
Just ride up to the camera on the bike.
I had to do. I didn't mention it on last week's episode. I don't think. About I had to do a self tape late last week. It was for
OnlyFans.
It was for a TV show, sort of quite a big series. That's like a fantasy adventure thing. It was only a little part.
Doctor Who?
But, no. It was sort of a newer one that's coming out, and it was like an action scene, and I had to die. I had to die in the scene.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
tough.
So
I
I
think
had to
that's
do- I
hard.
Do your Edinburgh
I did-
preview.
Did my new stuff. Oh shit!
Edinburgh clip of Top Secret, man.
Stuff about my dad dying. So I had to do 4 scenes, little scenes, and then the final one I died quite a horrible death.
Oh my god, dying would be hard.
And it was
Yeah,
it was
I would
quite
be coaching.
yeah,
Like
it was
some
literally,
Bollywood
I got
over actor.
yeah, it's like it's pretty yeah, I really went for it though, man. I just sort of just fucking thought.
Are you happy with it? Were you happy?
I was
were
happy
you
with it actually.
And nobody
I don't
else is
reckon I'll
there.
get
You're
it.
just doing a self tape.
No, Hannah did. I got
Okay.
Hannah like sort of. Luckily,
And Hannah was like,
Hannah's a
"You look like
Hannah's
you
a
got-"
trained actor, and like she's done loads of theatre, and like she's a
right
proper.
away. She's like, "That's the way
What
I
did she
pictured
say?
it. If
She
you
give
would
you
die."
her opinion that was shit.
No, she's good. Joey, she's a very good acting teacher, actually. So she's always good at keep pushing me to go further with it.
That's good,
Because
yeah.
I'm obviously
Go further away.
to move out.
Go to next door's house and do it. Do you mind?
So yes, because obviously I'm not a trained actor, so I'm always a little bit more restrained, and you don't realise you're being restrained because in your head you think you're going for it, but you're not. You're always held back a bit by the fact that you've not got the freedom of an actor. Have you?
Yeah.
Sure.
You've got to go big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like she's always very good at just going right now. Just do that bigger. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
And she'll get me to the point where I'm almost frustrated, and then I'll
Right.
just do it out of frustration and do something mad. and then she'll be like, all right, let's do one more where you sort of pare it back. And then I've just got the lot.
Oh,
She's
that's
got the whole
nice.
spectrum.
You married your acting coach.
Yeah.
That's a nice move.
Yeah. But
well, that's handy. I think if I had to do a death scene, I'd have to get an acting coach because
I've done self-tapes with an acting coach before, actually. Just hired him for like an hour, but he was so hard with me. He said, right, what's your... asking my opinion. And I'm sorry, I'm not ready at all. That's what I've come here. You're not ready? Like, it'd just be harsh with me.
Did he have credits? Because do you feel like...
He was good. He was good.
You're like, what have you done to me? Or is it those who can't do...
He was good, but he was brutal, man. Like, he was a brutal guy. But I quite liked it. Though.
Broke your spirit.
Yeah, he would do.
That's what you got to do, man. You got to break you down.
Yeah, and then rebuild you.
Clown school, isn't it?
Yeah,
just crying.
Gullier.
No great comic has never died.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, ours, we all know him, Benny Boot. He's recently spent a year at Gullier.
Oh, right.
And he was filling me in on that. It's fucking brutal.
How's he finding it? Daniel Simonson
Well,
did it, didn't he?
He's finished it now. He's left.
How many people did they accept?
I think every year.
Do you have to audition?
I don't think you auditioned for it. I think you just book a place, and I think sometimes it
just takes your dough.
I don't know if there must be a limit on how many people can be in it, but I think
I'd imagine there's a queue to get on it.
I don't know if there's a massive. I think you normally just
and a bigger queue to get off of it.
It's a trap.
It's a bigger queue for your money
around the block.
Yeah. But no, like he says there, people do drop out, and it is fucking brutal. I know loads of people.
I'd like to do it for that. I did a clown course actually, but I left. Did he? Yeah.
I believe so. I think Seymour Mace.
How long did you do a clown's course for?
I did. It was.
I won't. I mean, I'm trying to say it. You doing a clown course would be. I did.
It was
one of the funniest things I can imagine.
I was booked for 2 days. Do you remember?
The clowns would be crying after an hour. Why are all the clowns quitting?
But I just found it so pretentious. It was just like the clown. He kept talking about the clown. You're like, all right, mate.
But then that's what it's about. It's about making you forget your inhibitions.
That's what I did it for.
It is pretentious, but that's the point of it. You've got to go through that.
I did it for half a day. I pretended my car was double parked.
I drove home. I did a 2-day one. And I really
that's what I was booked for. I just didn't make it.
I really liked it.
Did you? Yeah.
I felt it very liberating.
Was it Mick Barnfather?
No. I did it with Lucy Hopkins, and I thought she was great.
Dr. Brown did one for a while, didn't he? Yeah. John Kearns did it, I think, didn't he? Or Spencer, maybe.
More than I thought. Then it's more popular than I
made loads of comics
this clowning stuff.
I think Dr. Brown kind of kicked the clown thing off in Edinburgh, didn't he?
He sort of got it. He brought it a bit bigger than it did. He blew up Edinburgh, and there's a lot of people that have had all
just clowning around the streets. It's right, joke, mate. Do some observational material.
All right, you're really quirky.
All right, we get it. Wow, get a joke.
He was very. His shows are great.
Was Mr. Bean?
Really
was Rowan Atkinson a clown?
I reckon.
Does that count as clowning?
Yeah, I guess
Mr. Bean is just like not speaking and making gestures.
Mr. Bean is the ultimate clown, I guess, isn't it?
But I don't know if he was a trained clown.
No,
someone who just sort of it was instinctive.
Just a weird face.
Yeah. But anyway, there's less clowning now though in terms of
it was quite fashionable, wasn't it, for a while?
There was
when it felt like everyone was clowning, and I still know a bunch. There's some really good ones. Josh Glantz is up there, and Elf Lyons and all that doing shows.
Does she do clowning?
Yeah. So there is I think Dr. Brown's recently just done a new show. And they are around, but I feel like
John
it's not
Kearns,
as
I guess,
prevalent.
would
there was an explosion
like that.
I don't think Kearns is.
Maybe I'm wrong.
True stand-up. But
it's quite
just
traditional.
He puts the thing on. Actually, I think he's a proper old school sort of almost observational
classic.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's almost it goes almost back in time.
Yeah.
But I feel like they had a clowning that sort of had its day, and now it's become part of the normal.
Probably about 2013. There was a clowning.
Yeah.
They all arrived in one car.
Yeah.
Took over the festival.
Tiny little car.
Massive shoes.
Put up on Princes Street, and then all the doors fell off.
John Wayne Gacy, he was one, wasn't he?
What's it? Oh, he was?
Yes.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He was the OG. I think he's doing a course now.
he
Had to kill the gay
really,
men.
He was really misunderstood.
Yeah.
I listened to a 4-part documentary about the Unabomber this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Do you know the Unabomber?
Was that?
Unabomber?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Who was that?
the
I
Unabomber.
saw a
Name
bit
was
of his
Ted
trial.
Kaczynski.
I think.
Oklahoma, wasn't it, or something?
No, different. He was a separate one. Timothy McVeigh did Oklahoma.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I know these names. But the reason I know Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, is I've read his book. I
And
read
you're-
his. He wrote a manifesto.
Is this how you're preparing for Edinburgh?
Do you know what?
I read his Edinburgh
Is
show.
everything okay, dude?
In
Like-
2000 my show in 2019,
Yeah.
I quoted from there was a bit of routine about the Unabomber's manifesto and reading it and
Okay.
agreeing with almost every part of it. But it's I listened to this documentary. It's
What
really
kind of manifesto
interesting.
was it? What side of
He was
politics?
very anti-technology and sort of anti. He was like he sort of believed that the modern world we've created is destroying us.
And who did he kill?
I think he actually only killed one or two people.
Pussy.
It was more like it wasn't actually a
But
successful.
he
bomb.
posted them,
He
right?
posted the bombs. He
Rubbish.
injured a lot of people and caused. Yeah, it was
Right.
terror. It was a terrorist, but I don't think his actual. It was a pretty weak kill count.
Oh, okay.
but he
Rubbish.
still got life in prison. And I think he only died a
Forever.
couple of years ago. Yeah, I
And
think
a
he died
book
in-
deal by the sounds of it.
Well,
And a Netflix
he'd
special.
already sent the book, the manifesto, out before they caught him. That was how they caught him because he got a bit carried away with himself. He'd done this reign of terror for like 12 years,
Right.
and he sent
I
his
might do one.
manifesto to like the New York Times to publish.
Okay.
And then off the manifesto, his brother and his brother's wife read it in the newspaper, and like his wife was like, "That looks like." That sounds like the way your brother writes his letters to you. And it took a while before she convinced his brother to dob him in, but he did in the end. You know what I mean? So there we go.
Grassing
Wow.
up your own brother.
I know he felt very guilty about it.
Yeah. I mean, he did the right thing, innit?
So,
Yeah.
so you just keep
I'm on
coming
about
back
the
to this
killer.
then. So this was in 2019.
Yeah, now
Every
5
now
years
and then
on,
you're like,
I'm back at the
I
Unabomber.
haven't
It's my
absorbed
pre-Edinburgh ritual.
enough.
I've just got to read a terrorist manifesto. Because you're doing Edinburgh. Let's talk about your Edinburgh show quickly.
yeah.
What number is it for you? Because
It's my 17th time in Edinburgh. and
17th solo show.
And it's my 11th solo.
Right.
What we doing the other 6 times?
I've done 3 package
Just
shows.
clowning around the street.
Yeah, my first 3 times were first 2 times were package shows, and then a couple times I did a week, or like we were talking, and that's still. So I just counted that as a long enough, one day, one night doesn't count.
No, absolutely.
I did
not.
one night 3 years ago.
I
and
did one night up there once in 2006.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
a plane there and back.
We were meant to be doing the whole run, but you just went, nah.
my,
out of it.
my American management. So like 3 years ago, I did one night just at the end of the tour. I was doing a tour. I was touring over here for the summer, and then popped into Edinburgh. I told my management I did one like just in a pub.
Yeah.
For the night, and American management, they were all like, "You did Edinburgh again, man!" And I was like, "No, it
Come on.
doesn't work that way, man."
Counts on the CV, doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I did a week. I did 5 nights last week. I was up there for a week, but I
I
did
think
a
a
5-night run, and I didn't feel like I did Edinburgh.
Right.
I sort of don't count last year as me doing Edinburgh.
Right.
I feel like
I think a week is right on that border of
I
like,
think-
like
I
2
think you got-
weekends.
A week would
is-
count. to me,
mate.
though.
I think a full run is the only thing that counts.
Right.
I'm old school, mate.
But a full run as a solo show or a full run in a package show? as well.
No, I would
So-
count that in the early days.
Yeah.
I count my first couple of years when I did shows with other people as fringes, but then once you get doing solo shows, I don't think you can then go back to. I'm doing the big value this year. It'd be fucking mental. So yeah, I think because I think this is my 12th solo show at the Fringe, but it's my
Nice.
15th solo show I've done because I've done 3 in Melbourne that never did the Fringe.
Oh, really?
I'd go up there and host the big value, now. If it was if everything was laid on,
yeah.
I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I mean, if
easy,
it took
wouldn't
the
it?
stress off you, and
Yeah.
if you could just have
You'd
fun.
still not enjoy it. I know what you're like, man. You hate the Fringe.
Did you? Oh, do you hate it?
I don't enjoy it really. Yeah.
No, right.
Just the stress of it before you get there, the months coming up to
Right.
it, and just like no.
Oh, I just love.
I miss my kids as well.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm lucky that my family
They're coming
is
up there.
decamping
My
from
kids
London
did come
with
up
me.
there
Yeah.
one year.
And I'm lucky nobody
At the end.
loves me, so
Yeah.
I've got nothing to worry
So
about.
blessed. I mean, they don't love me. I just love them.
Did you watch the football with your kids in the end?
I watched it on my own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they kind of wanted to be just with the young uns.
Yeah.
So they all went to a pub, and I just watched it on my own.
Julian didn't know it was the final on Sunday.
No.
We spoke
wow.
on
I
Sunday
knew it was
afternoon.
I know it was a big game. I just didn't know it was the final. I don't know how.
I was like, "Where are you watching the final?" And he was like, "Oh, was that tonight?" I literally had no idea.
So not a big fan.
I don't know. Normally I get into the Euros. I don't know what, it just missed me this year for some reason. Yeah.
Even though it was massive and everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, it's like in every paper, and
I know.
you couldn't avoid it. I was in Wales. I was in Cardiff for the final. Yeah, I forgot that nobody was going to be rooting for England.
Yeah, of course.
So I forgot about that. But
It's
then I
weird
was
that
like,
anti-England everyone is around England, isn't it? Like Welsh, Scottish, Irish.
That is because of historical reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
Weird
we're
is
not
one way to put
anti-them.
it, but
No, but you don't have to be anti them if you've literally, like, you know.
But it wasn't us, our generation.
No,
was
but it's
it?
still England as a country, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's a reason, like,
They need
a lot
to get over
a
it.
lot of Algerians aren't cheering on
need to
fucking
get over
France.
it.
You know what I mean? Like, countries that have been fucked by another country
We
aren't
should
going
go
to cheer
and
them
fuck
on.
them up
yeah,
again.
I
man.
don't think Canada would root for America. If
Yeah.
America like made it far in the World Cup or anything like that. But also, I was talking about this today. But we're also Canada. We're the Commonwealth,
Yeah.
though. So we do feel tied to Australia and England.
Yes.
You know, and Great Britain and stuff. So
Great
So there's
Britain.
that. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what people were like in Wales. Great Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
people hate you, mate.
Shit, Wales.
Yeah.
I like Wales. It's beautiful,
I love it
Wales.
as
isn't
well,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, they don't like you.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm an Aussie technically, so that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, so they were rooting. They're all going for Spain.
Well, me and my mate went to watch it in a pub, but like basically we couldn't go to what would be our local pub because it's an Irish pub, and you know my family are Irish, his family are Irish, and like sort of he goes there more regular than I do, and he knows loads of the local regulars, so he was like, I can't be seen to be sort of, because he does like, you know, he's born and bred here,
Right.
but with Irish family, but like he's still like he was like, I do want England to win, but I can't watch it in our local because.
So everybody in the local was going to go against England?
Yeah,
even
100%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's Irish,
Even on-
full of Irish. It's a proper Irish pub, full of Irish people.
Right,
So like we were like, we can't watch it there because we'll give ourselves away essentially for
Yeah.
supporting England.
They should really support England.
Ireland absolutely shouldn't. Ireland, out of all the countries, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, you know, I would say Ireland had
We
the
gave
biggest.
them Northern Ireland, though, didn't we?
No, you still have Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah, I mean the opposite to that.
Nice charitable spin on that one. We were good.
Oh yeah, I mean
we were good
not
to
that.
them.
You didn't give it to
I
them.
mean we give them Southern Islands. We let them have that.
You let them have it back.
Southern Ireland.
Yeah,
You stole it.
I think we should
hundreds
get
of
it
years
man.
ago.
Get it and just call it England.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, there would Ireland. There's not a single like. You couldn't put a gun to my parents' head and make them support England. You know what I mean?
Why
Right.
did they move here?
Because you can live in a country and not.
I sound like Farage.
You can agree that.
I'm just curious.
But no, I think that's a real English thing.
Why
If you
they,
live here, you've got to fucking like us. Like, you know, you can like a country's sort of like the way, you can actually like the people. You can like the way it functions and the culture, but you don't have to.
But
like
the way it was built,
the way it was built, you can absolutely.
It is.
think
It is a sport as well. In other things, you know, in a war or something, yeah, you should probably
But some
cheer
people
for the
love
country
it
that you
here,
live
though,
in.
don't they? Like if you speak to like Indians, like first, second generation, they love England, don't they? Don't you think?
Sure, yeah.
But when it comes to sport, like if India were playing, like everyone I know from
in
second
England in
generation
cricket or
Indians,
something.
whatever. If England are playing India, they support India.
Oh yeah, if it was that. But if England are playing Spain, they'd support England.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
think
about
so.
right.
I need to grab a tissue quickly. We keep it rolling.
What have you done?
No.
You just pissed yourself a bit.
Yes.
So yeah, it's your Edinburgh show. Where are you doing it? What's it called?
Oh, so my Edinburgh show is called Clubbed, and I'm doing it at Hootenannies.
Oh yeah.
4:45 it's in the Grass Market there.
Yeah. It's cool.
Air conditioning,
Oh, that is
so important.
It's a key factor.
Oh man, I can't handle it
I genuinely
anymore.
think that should be put on the flyers of shows.
Dude, oh, that's a great. Why
Any
didn't I
show
do
that is
I
like air
didn't-
conditioned in
I didn't
Edinburgh,
do that.
you should get a special sticker.
Yeah.
that goes on the flyers.
Oh, dude, because lately some of my most traumatic like gigs or events from gigs are due to the air conditioning.
Yeah, man.
Like in 2019, I was in the hottest room on the
What was
planet.
that?
It was the Gilded Balloon Sportsman's.
Oh man, like the Gilded Balloon rooms are.
Oh,
I'd say
Ugh.
pound for pound the hottest rooms.
I was just so sweaty, so I was at 10:45 at night or 10:50 at night.
Yeah.
So I had the accumulation
I was
of
going
all
to
the
say, does
heat
it not
all
cool
day.
down at that point? But now
It
you've
doesn't
got
cool down. You just like
yeah.
every room all day from
Why is it so hot?
10
So many bodies
10
in there.
a.m.
Yeah, and it's filled, so there's no airflow.
bodies
through.
and moisture and just it's
And
just hot and
aircon's always
sweaty.
noisy, isn't it?
And
And the worst is that have you ever done it? I've done Edinburgh as well. I've been in a hot room. and I'm following like a sketch group.
Yeah.
Who've just, there's 5 of them jumping
and the
around.
stage has got all paint on it or something.
And it's just, and the heat from like 5 people running around.
Yeah.
And the audience.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
You walk
Like
in, it's like
sauna.
a hot stripper's dressing room or
Yeah,
something. You're like,
yeah.
whoa, somebody's been working overtime. And I have to start my show
Smells
in
of
here.
sex.
Everybody's filing in. And so in 2019, and I'll never forget this, how disappointing it was, because I had a gig towards the end of the run, and it was getting even hotter and stuff. And I just noticed I was sweating more. I did a thing where I changed my shirt in the middle of the show, and everybody laughed,
stage?
and it was funny. No, there was an offstage bit where I had to hide before the start of the show anyway.
Yeah.
So I would go there and I changed it, and I was still talking on the mic and stuff. Then I came out with a new shirt, and they all cheered, and it was fun, and it was the momentum came. I was like, oh, good move.
Yeah.
So I tried it the next night, and it
Just
totally
died.
backfired.
Oh, man.
So I was like, I'm gonna do this thing that I did last night. So I jumped off stage, tried to do a shirt change, but it went awkwardly silent and stuff.
Man.
And I popped out, and I think I was still sweating enough that the shirt was already sweating, and maybe it was hung on my side. And I was like, and I could just feel the audience done. They were just.
How funny would it be if you went behind and he jumped out and they've all gone?
They've all changed their shirts.
I was afraid of that happening.
Oh, man.
So yeah, it was just too hot and sweaty. So I have air conditioning this year, and I feel like that's so important.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice chairs, nice seating, nice air
Where is it? The
conditioning.
Gilded Balloon?
It's at that was the hot one. It's at the Apex Hotel.
Oh, nice.
I think the Gilded Balloon's closed this year.
So like a conference
is.
room or
The
something at the
main-
hotel.
Yeah.
That'd be nice and air-conned.
Like a multi-purpose conference room. And when I saw the room last year, because I went and visited it, or I think I did a show in there last year, like a one night or whatever. And the chairs were really nice, high back, like bright red, comfortable, slightly padded chairs. It was super comfy. I was like, okay, it doesn't feel like an Edinburgh room.
That's a good Edinburgh room, though. Nice, clean conference room.
It could be the future.
Yeah, man.
If as long as people can stay comfortable. And my parents are coming from Canada as well for a week, and I'm like, I don't want to drag my parents into some of these hot,
sort of one of them rooms
sweaty-
on Cowgate. You know what I mean? You're in a cave that
they're not
used to
gonna-
keep bodies during the fucking plague and shit. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Down in the underbelly.
Like, and there's
not
like
just-
literally like the sort of the condensation just dripping on you off the cave walls.
I had that,
Yeah.
When I did Big Valley, it was like dripping on my hand.
It's like an old book depository kind of thing.
man.
I did that one year, and a woman.
This ghost.
I had people. You could tell people were struggling and passing out, struggling not to pass out. I had one person pass out.
Oh my god!
And I had to stop the show while the paramedics came, and they put her on a stretcher. And I spritzed for a little bit, but at a certain point, the show's been held up 10 minutes, and you're like, okay.
It's hard to riff off a stretcher,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's really hard to keep it upbeat for that long.
Unconscious.
And I'm just like, come on, lady,
CPR.
give me a thumbs up. And anyway, they took her. They took her out, but they couldn't get her down the fire escape. So they took her out of sight, and I
Was she
restarted
fat?
the show. And then they came. No, she's on the stretcher, so they couldn't get her down the spiral staircase.
Throw her
So then
down.
they came back through the show.
Oh
and
no!
I
Across the
restarted it.
stage,
Man.
you just got to carry on, pretend you can't see them.
Yeah, everybody. Here she
I
is.
just carried on with my next joke.
for an encore.
Oh man.
So hopefully avoiding all of those things.
Yes.
So it's gonna be should be fun.
I bet it's great, man.
Let's do some questions before I forget. What did Derek said? This was a good question. As somebody who travels as much as you do, what home comforts do you always bring with you when you go overseas? Food, snacks, anything. Like, is there anything you like? What are your little home comforts? Is there any one thing you're like, I will never travel without that, other than like obviously the passport and shit?
Yeah, that's good.
Actual sort of.
I'm trying to think of what I have with me right now, but there's a lot of things I missed about Britain, so I think I because I'm here for multiple months as well. I come kind of minimalist.
Yes.
And then you collect things as you go through the country. You know? So it's only for one nighters or something where you need your creature comforts or your.
I think there's something to be said for traveling light. I'm a big fan of traveling light.
Just a door key.
Just one Johnny and a disguise. I just think I like to travel light. Like I've done sort of weekends where I'm flying somewhere and I've just done it with a little backpack.
Just hand luggage.
Entirely. Yeah, I'm not quite at that. I sometimes have been the wash your socks in the sink and hang them up because you only have had 3 days of socks. You're on the 4th day. But for the most part, I try to stay pretty minimal. And
I once went to the New Zealand Comedy Festival with Craig Campbell.
He's one of them.
We were there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks on the other side of the world. Right, that fucking guy showed up with a duffel bag,
just a barbecue,
a duffel bag that was on my life,
Rambo knife,
that sort of, like a duffel bag that size. And
what did he have in it?
All he had in it, so he had one
rope.
This is all he wore, right?
He's a sink washer. He's
one t-shirt on, one pair of shorts, big long pair of socks, big pair of hiking boots, right? In the bag was another t-shirt, another pair of socks, another pair of shorts, and a few toiletries. That was it. And all he did, he'd wear his clothes all day, and then that night he'd wash them in the sink, hang them up. Next day he put the other ones on. Next night they were dry, and he just alternated 2 pairs of clothes for the whole 2 weeks.
I remember Ro Campbell in Cardiff went in his hotel room like the holiday, and they had like a little barbecue.
Mate, Ro Campbell.
What? Just cooking the sausages.
Me and Ro once did gigs in Sheffield together, and we stayed. They put us up in a little house, just me and Ro for the weekend, and he'd bought some stuff from a supermarket to cook, but then the flat that they put us in he couldn't find any like butter or oil to cook it in. So we just walked down the street and knocked at a sofa. House. He just knocked at a random house. And I opened a door.
That's just Survivor, isn't it?
And he just went, you're right. Can I borrow some olive oil? Like that.
I'll do without the olive oil.
He had no concept. That was weird. Just a random mad Australian knocking at your door in a village and fucking like
that would have been normal in the 80s, maybe.
It would have.
Borrow a cup of sugar.
Now it just feels like that. I agree. It should be okay. It felt wrong.
I got to tell you another Craig Campbell thing as well. So not only the minimalism and the washing his socks in the sink, but one time in New Zealand, I was working with him, and he stayed on.
He stayed on
time zone, right? Okay, he stays on he doesn't convert to the time zone of the country he's in.
So he'd get up to do the gig, and it'd be like breakfast time.
So he's doing a 10 p.m. gig in New Zealand, but then he's telling us, well, it's my breakfast anyway, so I'm going to do this and then have some lunch at 1 a.m, and I'm like, what the hell?
Surely just for like. Don't you want to go and see some stuff during the day? Go see some sights, go to a museum, whatever.
Just having brunch at 3 a.m.
I don't think it's taken off as a life philosophy. Like never change time zones.
I don't feel like that was a solid decision. What's the intel on? Oh, this is, I suppose, because you're a US. You've got a green card?
I'm green card approved.
Right, okay.
So I'm waiting for it right now.
And have you got an England visa as well?
No, I got an Irish passport.
Oh,
nice.
So you can get Irish around passport, everywhere then.
Canadian passport, Irish passport, and American green card.
Nice.
And a British tax number.
Oh, so you're a citizen.
That's
when
my
you're
combo.
Here,
Gets me in a lot of shit in India. That's the only place where I've gotten in trouble because they didn't believe. They were like, I got not deported, but I got kicked out. I wasn't allowed to work for the Comedy Store in India because they were suspicious of me having an Irish passport and I had the UK driver's license, Irish passport.
Yeah.
And they were like, this doesn't work. And I'm like, it does. This is perfectly normal. There's plenty of people with a British driver's license and an Irish passport. But
this is an American politics-based question. What's the intel on Biden getting COVID? Was it some what's that? What is that word?
Epidemiology.
Epidemic? Epidemiology?
Epidemiological, they've gone for. Is that even a epidemic?
I think it is, yeah.
My brain is just not working today.
Epidemic?
I feel like they might have spelt it wrong. And is it a terrorist attack at a Democratic rally, or some incel coughing on him, or fabricated to allow him to stand down without losing face?
Somebody's. Oh, that's interesting.
I think it probably is just COVID. Yeah.
It's just COVID.
Yeah.
But it is another.
He's a very frail guy, though.
It is another weakness, though. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
Especially because the people that don't believe in COVID and all that stuff are now going to be like, And
they're like, Trump beat it in 2 days.
Yeah.
COVID came for Trump.
Trump got shot in the face.
Trump's can't be heard at all, man.
Right, so we did last time. We did an episode.
That was the day you got.
It was the morning after he got shot.
Oh, really?
And like
the PR move of those bandages is insane. Because I bet he doesn't need a bandage, but he's like, he's gonna wear that. Puppy
so here's the thing. So
a lot of his fans have got the bandage on as well now.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about it, I was like, there was like conspiracies darting around. And I was like, come on, it ain't a conspiracy, man. Like, you could see him react and all this. And I was like, there's no conspiracy.
It was a good shot that photographer got, didn't they?
Since then.
Yeah, the most obvious.
Some of the other things that have like allowed it to happen feels like
it was just really bad Secret Service management, wasn't it?
But now there's even like, and again,
they're blaming the local force,
not into conspiracy theories, but like the things like. You know, them now
there was a gunman on the roof, 100 meters
and
away.
Apparently, in that building was one of the watchtowers of the Secret Service, and like there's all these other things.
And the Secret Service are blaming the local police because the local police actually disturbed the guy, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that's when he shot. Yeah.
And there's a massive ladder.
Somebody down on the ground spot him?
Yeah. And they told
before the size of the ladder.
There's a dude up there.
The massive ladder he'd put up to get up there is enormous.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, how did it?
The ladder was already there, though.
Oh, I saw.
The ladder was already on the building,
Why?
Just because it's, I don't know, maintenance or whatever.
Oh, right. He didn't bring it with him?
No, he didn't bring the ladder.
Okay.
That would have been suspicious.
He just brought his dad's rifle.
Right. So because I don't doubt he's shot, and like I don't think it's a.
I mean, if Trump would have not moved his head, he would be dead 100%. It's
but it just feels like the amount of failures for it to happen are so massive.
Yeah,
I mean, even
but every attempt requires
them even letting him stand up again.
In order for it to even happen, it does require that.
But this one feels
evolution,
like it's totally incompetent.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy incompetence, I think.
Yeah, but I don't feel like. But I have trouble believing that it was an inside. There was a couple of local cops or who were like, "Come on, kid, come with us.
Yeah.
We'll help you out. We'll help you get there." I've noticed clips of people they're zooming in on people on the crowd as well. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, I've seen
look at this lady. She didn't panic or anything. She's in on it.
Yeah. She masterminded it.
All right, we're digging a little too.
I mean, who knows, man?
But those ones are the ones I definitely question when people say, like, why didn't they react in the way I would have? And it's like, well, because everyone reacts different to an emergency. Man,
yeah. No one's ever been in that situation before.
Yeah, entirely. Yeah. Look at the Oscars crowd when Will Smith punched Chris Rock. Slapped Chris Rock.
Then he did a speech at the end.
Did that just is this a sketch?
Yeah.
I thought it was fake when I first watched the Will Smith thing. Like,
yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
The slap as well. It was like a big Hollywood slap.
Oh, and that's what people are saying about those bullets. They're like, that wasn't the real. That was just a crack. That wasn't a real.
Yeah. Some people were like, it was a pellet.
Yeah.
And that's why it just like, they were like, if it was one of them big bullets, his ear would have come off.
Well, there's legitimate people like at CNN saying that it was the glass that hit his ear and just crazy conspiracy.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's getting crazy too, because if you try to weigh in, it's hard as a comedian, because I think we like to make fun of everything.
Yeah.
And we have a license to make fun of everything. But if you weigh in on anything on this issue, you're immediately labeled as being on one side or the other, or how dare you. You're like, wait a minute, I'm just trying to make fun of the pellet gun or
don't
whatever.
Don't you find you can get away with it a little bit more because you're not actually American? Like, you know
I try.
I've seen a lot of there's some really good non-British comics who do comedy here, and I've seen them do the thing of digging out both sides. And actually, I find sometimes that slight distance gives them license to.
Well, it's
people
definitely safer here.
Set in there, picking a side though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's definitely safer here.
Yeah.
I think in America, even if you're in front of a biased crowd, if you're in front of a liberal crowd or a Republican crowd, it's still harder.
Really?
People still get
just
a little
even
bit
more embedded in there.
But here in America, or here in Britain, I think everybody's removed enough.
Yeah.
It is mad. Like, did you see the Tenacious D thing?
Yeah. Jack Black cancelled his tour, didn't he?
Because the other guy made a joke. Like I was like, what's his?
Yeah, I don't understand why that required a cancellation of the tour. That's what I see. I don't get that either.
So much heat off of it.
They were getting loads of heat.
Why not just apologize? Why not go, sorry, that was out of line.
Yeah,
let's move on.
Because now
we're
Black
just
is
entertainers.
copping a load of shit because it feels like he's thrown his mate under the bus, isn't it?
Right.
So he's the one who's cancelled the tour. And everyone's now saying, well, he's
Wasn't it Jack Black who said it?
No. Kyle
Gass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was just an
Jack Black laughed at it on stage. The footage is,
and some of the crowd cheered, but some booed, I guess. Yeah,
I think so. But like, but it was obviously a joke. It wasn't like he wasn't saying let's kill Donald Trump.
And it was a bad joke. It was in bad taste. But they're out there in the middle of a show, and he wasn't thinking straight. But but I can't see. I'm defending him now, and then
I guess it showed his politics, didn't it?
But what's wrong with that? You're allowed to have politics.
Yeah, but a lot of the crowd are like probably on the right, aren't they? I'd imagine.
What, an Australian Tenacious D concert?
Yeah. Was it in Australia?
Oh, I didn't know it was in Australia.
Yeah, he cancelled the rest of the Australian tour.
He just must have got so much hate.
It was all online. The video went online. Obviously, there was probably some people in the crowd.
That seems like a lot.
Filmed it, put it online, and literally it's all in America. All the heat has come from America.
Yeah.
And there was some Australian conservative politicians came out and were like, they shouldn't be allowed in this country and all that stuff.
That seems like
it was just a joke, isn't it?
I know. And it's a lot of people
joke in bad taste.
A lot of people getting so fucking pissing their pants over it. The same people that go on about cancel culture.
I know. That's the thing. Like with cancel culture, either you're for it or against it, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Now they're cancelling.
You can't be for it just because they offended you. You know what I mean?
It's fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, it seems like a bit much. It's really hard. Some of my conspiracy theory friends, like, they have more faith in the government than they even realize, because they think the government's so corrupt and everything, and yet in the same breath they're like, the government is useless. The government is useless. Did you know that those vaccines were actually mind control being outlaid?
They'd have to be extremely efficient.
That sounds really efficient. That sounds like you think
they
the
can't even run a train station. You know what I mean?
So what is it? Are they useless or are they
can't even run a bus company?
Right, let's do another question. Let's do when you write a new show, do you already have a predetermined lifespan for it? Is it just until you get bored of it or until you've done the rounds with it? And there's a sort of follow-up based on that, like where comedians talk about retiring old material. Do you ever bring really old stuff back to life years later, or is that not done?
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think every phase of your career gets different, because I've brought back a bit. I brought back a routine this year that I used to do in 2012 in my 2012 Edinburgh show. And I've dusted it off, actually because of my mom. I got to give my mom credit. She knows, right? And she's like, are you going to do that routine again? I was like, did you like that? And she's like, I really like that. So I've dusted it off.
Have you kind of updated it a little bit? Or
I've updated it. I've got merch for it now, too. I've gone and made some merch. So I'll be selling merch for this bit. And so it's actually... So I had retired it. Now I'm bringing it back.
You can bring fresh eyes to it a few years later as well.
It's depending on what it is. I definitely have like periods where I couldn't go back to the material because it was very much of its time.
Right.
Where I was at.
Racist stuff and that.
Yeah, all that stuff. You know.
Blacking up.
Yeah. No, that was very much. That was like 2000.
Right, them local gigs.
The racist Carl Donnelly era. Oh yeah, that was good.
No, but you know what I mean. Like sort of most of like my early stuff.
Oh yeah, I used to be a racist comic. Yeah, then I did clowning, and then.
But no, I do think I did shows about that period of time. My show about a divorce. Obviously, I couldn't do that now because I'm happily remarried.
If there was some good bits, though, you could do it. Now,
I wouldn't.
No,
for me, I would never do anything.
You like to talk about real stuff. Yeah.
I like to talk about where I'm at in the last year or two. So but I've got a bit that happened.
You'll talk about divorce again soon if you've been paying attention to how Hannah's feeling.
Probably around September time. But I've got a bit. Something that happened to me when I was just before I turned 40. It was a little story of something I did, and I did it at a time for a really short period of time. I reckon I tried it out 10 or 12 times, and I thought it was a really funny story. Couldn't get it to work.
Right.
And now it's the closing bit of this show, because when I wrote the show and I was getting everything together,
you grew into it.
No, as I got towards the end of the final routine I did, there was this story happened sort of about 4 months before the final story of this show.
Right.
And it totally sort of feels like an end point to it.
Yeah.
So I've tagged it onto that bit, and it's now killing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a real proper big hitting routine. Yeah, and so that's the first time I've dusted off an old bit ever.
Right. I think, every little piece of material has a different lifespan, doesn't it? Because some things really are evergreen. Sometimes you'll have little nuggets of jokes. They're evergreen, or they can even grow.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to bring them back. If they haven't been part of like an HBO or Netflix special, then who, because even, like, I hate to say it, but even if you count up ticket sales in Edinburgh, 27 nights. If you say you have 100-seater, 27 nights. Yeah. So congratulations, 2,700 people. In the world have seen it. The Edinburgh Festival is
you get more on a clip on Insta, don't you?
Exactly.
And there is that thing of like, I'm always super paranoid that like if I do a bit of material for too long, like say over a year, and not that I'd ever normally my set will change over a year, but I'll have a routine that might come back in and go over for every couple of months over that year.
Yeah.
And normally my stuff, I might have the longest I tend to have anything in a club set is 18 months.
I try that as well, yeah.
But I always am paranoid.
Mine's 18 years. I never do longer than 18 years. I just refresh it every 18. Yeah.
But I do have that constant paranoia. What if somebody's seen me do that bit of? But you've got to switch it off because if you're in a,
I do have that in my head. Obviously,
if you're doing a club and it's say the Top Secret or something, and it's like 300 people, the chances are, if you do it regularly, somebody might see you again 3 months down the line.
I just see it like the Stones do their best bits, though, don't they?
I don't think they do.
Yes, music is very different.
Yeah. But I'm like Mick Jagger.
But ultimately, it's one or two people, and you've got to sort of switch off. You've got to think about everyone else in the room.
I think comedy audiences have changed as well because the pinnacle for a lot of us used to be a TV set. Wasn't it like 15 years ago?
Yeah. Now it's crowd work.
And now it's a special, crowd work to go viral or whatever.
But
if you were doing a TV set 15, 16 years ago, you used to think, I have to retire that now. But that era almost doesn't exist now because of this crowd work and this little clips, You're almost showing snippets of your bit, so you never really retire anything because nobody's ever absorbing anything. You almost have to have something
ADHD pandemic, innit?
Yeah, you have to have a bit go ridiculously viral. For you to go, okay, that's that.
Yeah. Everyone in the planet has seen it now.
And that's just never going to happen.
8 billion views.
How long we got left, Jason?
We're on 52 minutes.
52 minutes. All right, we've got time for another question. Let's do. Here's one. This is from Timmy. Which dead comedian that you haven't seen do you wish you caught live? And then which living comedian, which you have seen, do you wish is dead? That's a good question.
It's got to be Pryor or Bill Hicks.
Do you know mine would be Mitch Hedberg?
Ooh, that would be fun.
Because he was
he had a handful of amazing jokes. I
would say like the people there's I've got seminal comedians who made me want to do comedy. Yeah. Billy Connolly would be one of them. But
he did Jongleurs years ago, didn't he? Hedberg.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would say when I started comedy, finally got actually started, I was doing all my stuff that I wrote in them early sort of 20 sets, 30 sets.
Yeah.
Was so different to what I'd actually wanted to do and what I do.
Were they a bit like Hedberg-y?
No, the opposite. They were quite dark. I was writing like dark sort of almost one-liners.
Rape jokes.
Right.
But then I saw somebody showed me Mitch Hedberg, and his stuff was so silly and like funny and just there was no trying to be anything.
Yeah.
It's just his sense of humour, and it made me realise that's what I prefer. I want to be silly. I grew up watching Harry Hill and all this stuff. Actually, it made me just sort of go back and just mess around.
I've got good memories of Mitch Hedberg. Of just never saw him live or anything, of course. But at one Edinburgh, actually, I remember Ed Byrne was there. But we all put Mitch Hedberg on, and we just played his albums. I think we were just pissing ourselves laughing at about 1 a.m. Just a room full of comics. 3 hours of Mitch Hedberg.
I've done that on car journeys with comics. Put him on,
because it doesn't bust anybody's balls. It's not. There's no grandstanding or anything. There's no like his political opinions were no. He would have been a Trump supporter. There's none of that stuff. So Bill Hicks would have been great.
Yeah.
Bill Hicks, probably.
I love that I've worked with Patrice O'Neill and Sean Locke.
Oh wow!
Patrice O'Neill and Sean Locke. Whenever I see some of their work, I'm like, wow, I worked with those legends. I've
Yeah,
because Patrice was over here for a while.
Patrice was here.
He?
I did a couple of TV shows. I did he was on live at the Comedy Store.
I saw him on that's the first time I ever saw him when I was young, man.
We recorded the same night.
17.
I need to check that out.
He and I recorded the same night as that when he does the Pepsi Cola.
Yeah, man, I remember that routine.
I was pissing backstage laughing with him. It was so great.
Because I remember that. I remember that really.
Was that in the early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s.
So what year was that?
I would say 2000
I was a
and
bit older then.
yeah, I would say 2004 or 5 probably.
So that was when I was just starting out. I was just thinking in that process of trying to start out.
And then because we also did, there was the World Stands Up.
I remember that show.
At the
On
Clapham
their website,
Grand.
they had all the. I used to just watch that at work all the time.
Patrice and I were on the
Kevin
same
Hart did that, I
episode
think.
of that one as well.
Oh wow!
And so that was cool, and I hung out with him and he started yelling at the other American comics because they were all talking about heading back to America because they wanted to do there was a stand-up show in America that's named after a coffee or something. It was
Nescafe.
Yeah, they wanted to do their Nescafe slaughter back in America, so they weren't hanging out. And Patrice was like literally standing up, going, "None of you understand what it is to be comedians." He's like yelling at them,
cool.
and then he's pointing to the British comics, of which I was proud to be one of them. He's like, "These people know how stand-up comedy works." And so those are definitely two guys that I appreciate having time with.
Any comedians you wish were dead to finish on?
Not really. Even the pedo comic. Do you remember him? He was a pedo.
Tom Binns.
Oh my!
Nah, he weren't really. He was kind of more open micy. I did a long drive with him once. He was going to teach me how to do backflips.
Into the playground.
He was a gymnastics instructor.
I remember that guy. Yeah.
But he went to prison for it for like years, and then came out and became a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I saw
no,
Tom,
but-
I
yeah, I
saw
wouldn't
Tom
want-
Binns
what-
get half fired once.
Did you?
Yeah.
I supported Tom on one of his tours.
Do you remember he
We got up to some.
he had
Borrowed your laptop.
I lent him a hard drive.
You need to get your laptop back.
he had
Probably in a
had
bath.
He had that character, so he had the
Ivan
radio-
Brackenbrough.
but then he also had the brain
Ian de Montfort.
reader, and Jonglers had booked each.
Yeah.
I think I was on in the middle.
Oh my
I did the middle,
God.
so he was doing the opening as the mind reader or whatever, and the closing as and
Double bubble.
And the crowd never liked the de Montfort, so he got half fired. I remember
So they
being
didn't
upset.
close.
The promoter coming like, no. So the next night they're like, you're losing. One of you is fired, but you can still do the other
Oh my
act.
God.
Yeah, but anyway, I would say
I know a few people that got sacked from a weekend at Jonglers. That thing of the
really?
Friday went so bad, they just got told you don't have to do tomorrow. That would be so
I'd love that.
Yeah.
You'd love it. You don't get paid.
You'd still,
Oh, you wouldn't get paid?
No.
Nah, I mean,
No,
fuck
you-
that then.
yeah.
They did so bad. That's the
Being
booker's
in
fault, though, isn't it? Like,
I mean, I think it's also the comedian's fault.
for being
Well, yeah,
shit.
Also, I think you should trust the comedian to be a professional and bounce back the next day. That's
Yeah.
really stuck.
Because that's you're going to be
Yeah.
a good git. If you've died, you're going to come hard the next night
Let's
Yeah.
wrap it
and
up.
die harder.
But it's hard to wish death. It's hard to wish death upon a
I
live
don't wish death
performer.
on anyone, though. It's a
Die
hard.
Hard 2
Yeah.
on Saturday night. All right, let's wrap it up. So yeah, people can see your show.
Yep, 4:45 in Edinburgh.
It's a nice time.
Have a
It should
Google.
be
What
in-
venue again?
So it's called Hootenannies, and it's right down on the grass
Hootenannies.
market, the
Yeah.
Cowgate
Like
grass
the New
market.
Year's Eve show with Jules Holland's Hootenannies,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's what I was thinking when they.
Hootenannies
So-
4:45.
Yeah, they've got a
Jason John
Instagram. It's
Whitehead.
like Hoots is their Instagram. I think Hoots Comedy. So they've been putting stuff up there, and they'll be
and I
putting
think
clips
that-
up there.
there was-
You like that name? Yeah, you like that? Hoots Comedy is he's coming. There we go. So
It's one ticket
people can come
sold.
to mine. For my shows at the Pleasance, it's 9:00 every night. I think there's a TVI patron, maybe a spin-off group for anyone going to Edinburgh, so they can have catch-ups and
nice.
things like that. So check out that. Any other business? That's it, innit?
That's
Thanks,
it, innit?
Jason.
Thanks
for
to
running
all our
the decks
patrons.
again.
yeah, thanks for
coming
having me,
on, man.
guys.
Jason on the ones and twos.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having us.
DJ Jason.
Let's all check in with each other after Edinburgh and
I
see
know,
what
yeah,
comics
yeah,
we
yeah.
wish would die.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot.
Let's do an hour.
A
on
really
that.
calm, just read out a list.
So this has been part 1, but part 2 is at the
An
end of the
alphabetical
festival.
list.
All right. Thanks everyone, and
Thank you,
we'll
guys.
see you
We
next
love you.
week. Bye.